Now, tell us about the pandemic hangover here when people are still working from home. Big businesses, let alone the public sector, having a lot of trouble, Tanveer, getting people back into the office. How important is it? Let's forget it. We know why the companies want them there. It's going to work better. But how important it is for those individuals themselves to get back into the workplace physically?
There's a big disconnect between what employers want and employees want. And there's definitely something lost when you're not in the office. Incidental time. So many ideas just come from, you're at having a coffee, just bouncing some ideas. Those things are potentially lost. A lot of creativity, teamwork. So there's no question that's lost. And I see people like that who are already a bit socially avoidant and anxious, and they're the ones who prefer work from home, but it's not necessarily good for them. Now, some of these studies that show there is a decline in productivity, I think one of the key ones was in a call centre. We do need to be worried. I think there's some technical type jobs that are okay work from home, and it suits a lot of people. They've got their flexibility with the kids, etc. And meanwhile, they knock off, something that data entry, whatever it is. So I think sometimes it depends on the job. But some jobs that depend on collaboration, teamwork, that sort of connectedness in the workplace, at least 3 days a week or something along those lines is pretty critical.
We're all working parents, right? So we understand the benefits of that flexibility, and probably things will never go back the way they were. People will be able to work from home when they need to. But, gee, I think we've got to do a lot better than we are. And it's even impacting, Claire, on kids not wanting to go back to school. Mum and Dad are working at home. They've been studying from home during lockdown, so they don't want to go back. What sort of damage can that do?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. And it's exponential, isn't it? So the more you stay at home, the more you want to stay at home, and the more introverted you become. We're finding as a private psychology business that we can't get people to come back into face-to-face therapy. Wow. And that's really important. And telehealth's great, right? It's great if you can't make it in the clinic, we'll do it by telehealth this week. But there is something about, if you're treating someone who's suffering from depression, about getting them out of their house to get in the car to come to the clinic and see face-to-face a therapist. And they won't do it. They'll stay at home.
Got to do it.
Yeah.
It's so obvious, right? I was just thinking here, during COVID, no one was coming into the studio. We're all doing Zoom and Skype and studios, and how much better it is to actually talk to real people in real time. You can understand what's going on and communicate so much better.
The thing with this, Chris, often the people who most need to come into the office, they're the socially avoidant ones, similar to the therapy, are the ones who most avoid it. They're the ones who decide to stay home. They're the ones who won't come to the session, but they're the ones who most need it.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a bit of a dilemma. So you have to go and hunt down the people who are working at home. I think we're going to be talking about this for a long while. I think companies in particular are going to have to lay down the law. And,
it is. As a small business employer, myself, I have a team. If you're a great child psychologist, I'm hiring, contact me. It's really hard because, I think there's generations who've grown up on this, and then now the teenagers are becoming in their 20s, they're looking for jobs. They're all about self-care, and they're all about, well, how many hours will I need to work, and how many hours do I need to come into the office?
That's right, yeah. I've heard employers the same thing. The first thing I want to ask you, do I have to come into the office?
Yep.
Well,